Everybody, for those of you in the audience who have not attended one of these hearings recently, please allow me to review our normal procedures. Staff will introduce each item for consideration. If you'd like to speak, please fill out the speaker form located on the table in the lobby and indicate the item number and whether you are for or against the item. Please then give that form to the clerk seated to my left. The applicant and any supporters who might be present will be heard first. Those in opposition, if any, will be heard next. Then the applicant will be given a chance for rebuttal. Comments should be restricted to pertinent information regarding the agenda item under discussion. Personal disagreements between parties is irrelevant to this meeting. If you are an individual, you will have 3 minutes for comments. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, you will have 6 minutes to speak. As we move through the items, it's helpful if speakers could move closer to the podium when their item is being presented by staff. When you come to speak, speakers should identify themselves clearly for the record by stating their full name and address. Each speaker should be given respectful and courteous attention, and the board may ask questions of speakers or staff members. Any information you might want to submit, pictures, site plans, letters, anything, will be kept as part of the public record. If you have things on your phone, we can look at them under the camera there, but you will be required to print them out and find some way for us to save them and keep them as part of the record. When we have finished listening to folks, I will then ask for a motion from the board. Once a motion has been made and seconded, discussion will be closed to the floor. Following board discussion, a vote will be taken. During voting, board members who do not cast objecting votes are considered to have voted in favor of the motion. And lastly, any person who's aggrieved, by which means you don't agree with or don't like the decision of this board, you may, within 15 days, file an appeal to the Board of County Commissioners through the county's Planning and Development Division of the Development Services Department. With that, we'll move on to our agenda. Ms. Hamilton, is it my understanding that the first item, 225 Lake Drive, has been continued, or request has been made by the applicant to continue it?
The applicant has requested a continuance to our July 26th Board of Adjustment hearing.
We would entertain a motion from the board on that subject.
Move to motion.
We have
Or
a
move to.
We have a motion to continue
Move
and
to continue.
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, that was easy. Moving on to our second item, which is 1114 Turner Lane.
Good evening. For the record, Hillary Payton, Planning and Development. Item number 2 is for 1114 Turner Lane. However, we have not received an affidavit of posting from them, and I don't believe they're here yet. Is anybody here from 1114 Turner Lane? So I don't believe they're here yet to provide such affidavit, so we cannot move forward with their item. So we can either move it to the end and see if they show up, or move it to next month.
To our friends who are just now walking in, are y'all the Turner Lane folks? Sir, are you Turner Lane? Yes. Timing, good. Please continue.
All right. Do you have your affidavit, sir? Yes, sir. You can give it to Ashley. All right, so item number 2. Okay. Item number 2 is a variance request for 1114 Turner Lane, located in the Academy Heights subdivision. The request is for a rear yard setback reduction from 30 feet to 13 feet for an accessory structure in the R1A zoning district. The request is to bring into compliance the construction of a 416 square foot carport measuring 16 feet by 26 feet, 17 feet into the rear yard setback. There's an open code enforcement violation number 21-4 for the structure, as it was constructed without a permit. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Any of y'all have questions for staff? Seeing none, we know our applicant is present. Sir, do you wish, oh, there he is. Do you wish to add anything to what staff has shared with us? You don't have to, but if you'd like to, it's your right. I'm sorry, was that a no? We have a mask in plastic, so I couldn't quite hear.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak in favor of this matter? Anyone in the audience who would like to speak in opposition? All right, with that, we'll close down. Yes, sir.
I have a question of the applicant.
I forgot to ask that. I'm sorry, Steve. Yes. Sir? Mr. Coover has a question for you.
Property to the north of you,
Probably what?
to the north of your property. Have you talked to them about what you're planning to do?
Yes, everybody's okay. Everybody says it's okay.
The person who owns the property to the north told you it was fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry for stepping over that. Do you all have any questions for this gentleman? Having said that, then, as we have finished receiving information and testimony from folks on the floor, I'll close that part down. Any discussion or motions from the board?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Any second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did forget to say any discussion. Was there discussion before the vote anyone wanted to say? My apologies. All right. Your application is approved, sir. Good luck. Having said that, now moving on to item number 3.
Item number 3 is a variance request for 2039 White Pelican Terrace located in the River Bend at Cameron Heights subdivision. The request is for a west side street setback reduction from 20 feet to 10 feet for a privacy fence in the Cameron Heights plan development. The subject property is a corner lot and is considered to have 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces south on White Pelican Terrace. The White Pelican Terrace side on the west is where the variance is being sought. The request is to construct a 6-foot vinyl privacy fence 10 feet into the required 20-foot side street setback. The proposed privacy fence is 10 feet from the sidewalk and 21 feet from the edge of pavement. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. A letter which was provided to the board this evening from the Riverbend at Cameron Heights Community Association manager was received approving the applicant's request for a fence installed a minimum of 10 feet from the front of the house and a minimum of 5 feet from the sidewalk. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have.
You all have any questions for staff?
Yeah, the existing that I saw there overhead that you had this slide before that, what's the story on the rest of those
Read my mind.
fences? I knew you were going to ask.
The one that it directly is behind, the board on August 24th of 2020 granted the identical variance that is being requested tonight.
And the other corner lot that's right there on the
Those meet the
northeast corner?
side yard setback, side street setback.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant here? Oh,
I am right here.
Look at that.
I popped up here.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
so I'll be butting up again,
Ma'am?
right up against that side.
I'm sorry, just for the record, could you please share with us your name and address?
Oh, Elisa Villain, 2039 White Pelican Terrace, Sanford, Florida.
Perfect, thank you, ma'am.
And so I'll be butting up right against that fence on the side. She's my back neighbor, and it's just going to go in line with her fence. And it's basically the exact same fence as far as the distance from the front of the house to the curb as well.
Gotcha. Gentlemen, any questions for our applicant?
Your neighbor that is to the north that you're going to be butting up, have you kind of told them as well, and they're okay? Because I noticed there was no letters that were received.
Yeah, they're aware of it. They haven't voiced any objection.
Okay.
They're almost getting a fenced in yard themselves by having me close in the one side, but, yeah, and it's also for protection because I have 2 dogs that, the one has to be chained up when I let her out to go to the bathroom, and it's just not fair to her and me.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for our applicant? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who wants to speak in support of this application? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? All right, well, we'll close down that portion. Gentlemen?
I'd say since we kind of keep it in continuance of the north house, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any comment on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Your application's been approved, ma'am. Enjoy. All right, well, moving on to item 4, please.
Item number 4 is a variance request for Lot 1 on Sipes Avenue located in the Packard's First Edition to Midway subdivision. The request is for a north side street setback reduction from 25 feet to 7.7 feet for a single-family residence in the R1 zoning district. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house will face west on Sipes Avenue. The undeveloped Northwood Avenue on the north side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to construct an 800-square-foot, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, single-family residence, 17.3 feet into the side street setback. The side street runs along an undeveloped Northward Avenue, which is a paper road that has power lines running aside it. The subject property is a parcel of record that predated the subdivision regulations located within the Midway target area, which was designed by Seminole County in order to promote new housing opportunities. The overall goal of the county program is to stabilize and revitalize low-income neighborhoods through capital improvement, housing rehabilitation, and public service activities. A letter of support was received from the property owner to the south of the property, in addition to a property owner about a half a mile away from the property. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
In the variance description, referred to as abandoned right, it's not abandoned. The right-of-way hasn't been vacated, it's still just unimproved,
Correct.
so it's still county right-of-way? Or-
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Is the applicant here? Would you like to speak, sir? Nothing? All right, thank you, sir. Excuse me. Is there anyone else present who'd like to speak in support of the application? Seeing none, is there anyone here who wants to speak in opposition? Easy enough. All right, well, we'll close the floor then. Gentlemen, your pleasure, your thoughts?
Based on staff's recommendation and findings that the applicants met the requirements, I move to approve.
A second.
Motion to approve and a second. Any conversation or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Your motion, or your application is approved. Enjoy. Number 5, please.
Item number 5 are 2 variance requests for 1040 Merritt Street. The first request is for a front yard setback reduction from 25 feet to 8 feet, and the second request is a west side street setback reduction from 25 feet to 10 feet for a single-family residence in the R2 zoning district. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Merritt Street, and the side street faces Marker Street, where the variances are being sought. The request is to enclose an existing front porch and convert an existing attached storage room on a single-family dwelling and convert it into 2 additional bedrooms with a shared bathroom. The existing home has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, totaling 939 square feet. Upon the completion of the renovation, it'll have 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, totaling 1,013 square feet. The home extends 17 feet into the front yard setback and 14.5 feet into the side street setback. The home is a legal, non-conforming dwelling on a parcel of record that predated the subdivision regulations and is within the East Altamont target area, which was designated by Seminole County in order to promote new housing opportunities. The overall growth of the county's program is to stabilize and revitalize low-income neighborhoods through capital improvement, housing rehabilitation, and public service activities. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right, seeing none, is the applicant here? Is there anything you want to add to what staff has shared, sir? All right, thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone here who'd like to speak in opposition to this? All right, this is easy tonight. We'll close the floor. Gentlemen,
Move to approve.
we have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Enjoy. Thank you. We will be out of here in record time. Number 6, please.
Don't say that. Don't whine. Say that.
Item number 6.
I'm sorry, please, number 6.
I'll talk really slow to keep us here a little bit longer.
These rookies.
Are there any lawyers billing by the hour in the audience? Chad, are you billing by the hour? Yes. All right. You definitely slow down, yes.
Item number 6 is for 3 variance requests for 63868 East Lake Mary Boulevard, located in the Sanford Celery Delta subdivision. The first request is for a south side yard setback reduction from 10 feet to 0 feet for a leasing office. The second and third requests are for a covered parking structure with the west front yard setback reduction from 50 feet to 25 feet, and the south side yard, reduced from 10 feet to 0 feet in the M1 zoning district. The subject property is a double frontage lot and as such considered to have 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house front of the property, faces East Lake Mary Boulevard. The Cameron Avenue side is where the front yard variance is being sought. The request is to construct a 400 square foot leasing office on the south property line and a 42,576 square foot covered parking with restroom structure on the south property line and 25 feet into the required front yard setback on the Cameron Avenue side of the property. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right.
Okay.
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Coover.
I need to make a disclosure. I represent the applicant. My representation predated this application. It's been going on for years. I have no financial interest in this project, but I want everybody to know.
Thank you for that. Yes, sir. Representative for the applicant.
Chad Moorhead with Med Moorhead and Stokes, 431 East Horatio Avenue. Also have Jamie Hodges with me. He's the applicant tonight. Just so you guys know, the property to the south he owns, so where we're asking for the variance, asking for a variance to his own property line. So it's just a continuation of the existing Park for Days facility. So we're here for any questions if you might have any.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the applicant? Easy enough. Is there anyone here to speak in support of the application? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? All right, with that, we'll close the floor. Gentlemen, any conversation or motions?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any comments or conversation on the motion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Enjoy your new project, sir. Thank you. All right. Item number 7, please.
Okay, for the record, my name is Angie Califer with Seminole County Planning and Development. Item number 7 is a request for a rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 10 feet for a detached accessory building in the R1 Single Family Dwelling District located at 131 Salem Street. The proposed detached metal building will be 1,200 square feet and will encroach 20 feet into the required rear yard setback and will be for the applicant's personal use only and will not have a commercial business use. 1 wood building and 1 metal building will be demolished in order to place the proposed building in the rear of the property. Demo permit 21-4622, and there have not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation for item 7, and staff is available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Would you like to add anything to what staff shared, sir? All right. Thank you. Is there anyone here in the audience who'd like to speak in support? Yes, ma'am. If you'd come to the podium, please. And when you get there, if you'd please share with us your name and address.
My name is Carissa Simpson. I am the next door neighbor of Mr. Johnson. Have been for 52 years, 37 of his years there. And on behalf of myself and my mom, my nephew also sent an approval. We have no objections to him adding the variance or getting an approval for the variance to add his addition to the property.
Got you. If you want, just, gentlemen, any questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Coover.
Ma'am, can we put up a layout of the property, please? Can you tell us where you live in relation to the applicant's property?
If you're facing the front of the property, we're on the left side. On the right side, it's wooded area, so it's never been an area that's been a commercial or residential area on the right side of them. And if he does any modifications, it won't affect our property at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ma'am, one moment. Any other questions? Just one last question. It's mentioned in our packet that the gentleman will be working on automobiles as part of his hobby. And you're okay with that?
Of course, my son also works alongside him and learning how to work on that hobby. So he's worked hard enough to retire to do so I honor him for that. And he's great at doing it, too, so yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else in the audience to speak in support? Anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? With that, we'll close the floor. Gentlemen, your pleasure.
I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any comments or discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chair, I did have one comment. I meant to ask staff. If we go back to the picture, the aerial view of it, in our staff report, I mean, where the property boundary line on our page 108 is superimposed, looks like that one building to the right in the area that we, was discussed, that was kind of unimproved, kind of hangs over that white building next to the primary. Is that a issue for us here? I mean,
Well, he is, Kathy Hamill, Development Services. He is under code enforcement at this time, so any buildings that are non-conforming and don't meet the setbacks, hence why we're here this evening. He is removing buildings on the site, and this request is for a replacement building within the confines of this
understood.
variance request.
And I guess my question was, I should have been a little more clear, because it said we were removing a wood building and a metal building. I'm assuming those are the two in the back, and it has nothing to do with the one on the right side of the residence, or?
Let me confirm. So is the two buildings in the back?
The two buildings that are being removed are in the rear, the one on the right-hand side. He does not have any code violations on his property.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments, gentlemen? So we have a motion to approve and a second, correct? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Enjoy. Pass on those lessons. All right, thank you all so much. Now moving on to item 8.
Item number 8 is a request for a rear yard setback variance from 15 feet to 10 feet for an addition in the PD Plan Development District located at 1445 Sweetwater Lane. The subject property is located in the Lake Tony Water subdivision. The proposed carport addition will be 264 square feet and will encroach 4 feet into the required side yard east setback. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation for item 8.
Thank you. Gentlemen, any questions for staff? Seeing none, is our applicant present tonight? Sir, would you like to add anything to what staff has shared? If you do, you'll need to come down here, please. And when you join us, if you'd please, just for the record, share with us your name and address.
Robert Erskine, 1445 Sweetwater Lane.
Yes, sir.
It's going on an existing driveway, so it's not like we're encroaching any, it's going 12 feet off the grass, I mean, off the house on the driveway. So it's not going into the grass at all on the side.
Thank you.
That was it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, any questions for the applicant? All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anyone else in attendance who'd like to speak in support of this application? Is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition? With that, we'll close the floor. Gentlemen, your preferences, your thoughts?
Move to approve.
A second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, sir. Enjoy.
Okay.
All right,
item
number
num-
9. Sorry.
That's okay. Item number 9 is a request for a side yard east setback variance for 10 feet to 6 feet for a carport. And are we doing the wrong one again?
You're doing Moss Point.
This will be 35,
Let me
45
just go
Moss
to my
Point.
book. Hold on.
15 to 10.
We're doing 9, right?
See, I blame you
Okay,
for this.
sorry.
And rightly so, as you should.
It's a no-hitter.
The wheels are off
You
already.
never call off the no-hitter.
See what happens?
My gosh.
Okay, item number 9 is for 3545 Moss Point Place. The request is for a rear yard setback variance from 15 feet to 10 feet for an addition in the PD Plan Development District. The request subject property is located in the Highlands of Lake Mary subdivision, and the proposed solid roof screen room will be 240 square feet and will encroach 5 feet into the required rear yard setback. The request is for, there has not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Gentlemen, any questions for staff? Seeing none, is our applicant here? Thank you, ma'am. Do you want to add anything to what staff has shared? All right, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak in support? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in opposition? Well, with that, we'll close the floor. Excuse me. Gentlemen, any thoughts or motions?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Mr. Coover has seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, enjoy, ma'am.
Okay,
Number 10.
Item number 10 is a request for a rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 12 feet for a single-family residence in the R1 Single Family Dwelling District located at 1582 Dixie Way. The request is to construct a new single-family residence, approximately 1,468 square feet, that will encroach 18 feet into the required rear yard setback. The lot is within the Demarion's Addition subdivision, included in the Lockhart's target area designated by Seminole County in order to promote new housing opportunities. There has not been any prior variances found for the subject property, and based on the stated findings, staff recommends approval for the request. And this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff?
Just one.
Mr. Coover?
Do you know why they located the home to the northern part of the lot as opposed to sliding it a little southerly where the variance would be less?
I don't know why they chose that location, but either way, they're going to have to apply for a variance. They're not going to, the way that you have to measure the rear yard setback straight alongside the house, they're going to need it either way.
So they would, the other corner would have hit it. If they would have moved it down.
Yeah, then it would have been the other
south
one.
Would have then hit the rear yard.
Right.
Gotcha. Any other questions? Anything, sir? Is the applicant here? Sir, would you like to add to what you've heard? All right, well, thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak in support of the motion, or the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition? All right, with that, we'll close the floor. Gentlemen, your
Move to approve.
thoughts? We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Those in opposition? Motion passes. Enjoy, sir. Thank you for what you're doing. With that, we'll move on to number 11.
Okay, item number 11 is a request for a side yard west and east setback variances from 10 feet to 7.5 feet for an addition in the R1AA Single Family Dwelling District located at 605 East Highland Street within the San Lando subdivision. The proposed addition will be approximately 1,200 square feet and will encroach 2.5 feet to the required west and east side yards. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation for item 11.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff?
Just one. Does staff have any knowledge of 7.5-foot side setbacks in this area as stated by the applicant in their written request? He suggests that they're there, but if it's 10 foot in the area, I don't see how things could be built to 7.5.
She's checking the year of the house.
There was a change in our residential zoning classification. It was also to the R1 zoning classification. Let me just double check the year of the house, because I believe it was like in the 1970s that. Building information, Okay, the house was built in 1961, so they are correct. When the house was constructed, the setbacks at that time were 7.5, and the
Okay.
county did change them.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Hi, there's, whomever would you like to add to, would you mind coming up, because I think we do have a question about something that's in your application, please. Certainly. Before you begin, sir, if you would share with us your name and address.
Okay, my name is Alfredo Rodriguez, and the address is 605 East Highland, and Altamont Spring.
Gotcha. My question, sir, and I'll go slowly for translation, Mr. Coover had asked how, in your paperwork, you'd mentioned there are other homes that are similar to what you're asking for, and I guess our question, I had a similar question, where are those other homes located, please?
Actually, the one right beside it, to the if you are front in the facing the front of the house, the one on the left, it has the same distance.
Gotcha. Could you all please pull up those aerials so we can answer our own questions? Gotcha. Gentlemen, any other questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? Seeing none, we'll close that. Gentlemen, your discretion? Your thoughts? What you'd like to do?
I'll move to approve.
Mr. Coover moves to approve. We have a second. Any thoughts or comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those in opposition? Enjoy, sir.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to number 12, please.
Item number 12 is a request for a side street north setback variance from 25 feet to 8 feet for a privacy fence in the R1 AAA Single Family Dwelling District located at 707 Blue Lake Drive. The subject property is a corner lot and is considered to have 2 front yards for the setback purposes. The front of the house faces Blue Lake Drive, and the Green Lake Circle site is where the variance is being sought. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The Sweetwater Oaks Homeowners Association approved the privacy fence, and letters of support have been received by the adjacent neighbor. 1 letter of support. And the existing privacy fence of 8 feet from this is going to be 8 feet from the sidewalk and 21 feet from the edge of pavement. There is currently a building code violation, code violation 21-95 for unpermitted construction of a fence without a permit, and there have not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation for item 12.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff? Yes, sir.
Apologies. What was the violation for? I didn't understand.
I'm sorry, unpermitted construction of a fence?
Okay.
I do have a question, and I apologize. I'm quibbling over something. I've noticed in our packet that this is listed as, and I'm sorry if I'm just being dumb and misreading things, request for a side street north setback, but when I looked at the maps, it seems to be on the southerly end of the property, and I don't even know if that's plays into consideration, but is that anything, am I wrong? And if I'm not wrong, is that mistake anything that plays into
Let me look at the...
notice issues or anything like that? Because in the drawing, you would think it's north.
Oh,
'cause
it's reversed.
Yeah. Does that cause us any problems in noticing or?
It doesn't cause us any problems with the noticing because we do it to all of the adjacent property owners, so it doesn't matter what side it is on. All of the neighbors that are abutting would receive notice.
No busybody would come in and say, well, they said north, it's actually south, and we'll let them deal with that at their appeal, right? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be quiet now. Is the applicant here?
Too late.
I know, right? Would you like to add anything that you've heard so far? All right.
I'm going to have some questions.
But we do have some questions, so, sorry, tease. Please come on down. And when you get to the podium, please share with us your name and address.
I'm Laura Walker, 707 Blue Lake.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Tell me about the location of the fence today versus a few years ago. It looks to me from the pictures like it's been moved out towards the sidewalk.
So I have photos of before and after. It's in the same exact spot.
Zach?
Yeah, it was falling over, so we just fixed it.
That was my question as well.
Can we put up the pictures from
Yeah, I have.
2013 and 11? Because unless the sidewalk moved, it looks to me like there's more property. If you look at 2011 and 2013 and compare it to the picture of where it is today,
Actually, I'm looking now, so yeah, it looks like it just might be the landscaping.
It is the
The
landscape.
landscaping just changed, yeah, because now I'm looking at it from on a big screen, and it looks like it's just the landscaping filled in, so it's kind of a illusion kind of thing.
already?
Cool.
Any other questions? No. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else present who'd like to speak in support of the application? Is there anybody here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close that down. Gentlemen, your pleasure.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, could I just ask one question before we?
Yeah, you had your chance. No.
No, we'll discuss leadership later.
My God.
It goes back to your question,
Just because Bernard's bigger doesn't mean you can pick on me.
the terminology, because in the development order, the way it's written, it does say north setback, so, if we say that, I mean, is there any language that needs to be changed in that?
We'll correct that in the development order.
Okay, that was my only comment, so it was having your back, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you. What do we say?
You may continue.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, enjoy. Continue enjoying. Don't do it again. And finally, number 13.
Item number 13 is a request for a side street west setback variance from 20 feet to 15 feet for a privacy fence in the R1BB Single Family Dwelling District located at 8108 Lazy Bear Lane within enclave at Aloma subdivision. The subject property is a corner lot and is considered to have two front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Lazy Bear Lane, and the Pleasant Pine Circle side is where the variance is being sought. The enclave at Aloma subdivision Homeowners Association approved the proposed fence, and traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The privacy fence will be 15 feet from the sidewalk. The applicant did not indicate what the distance from the fence to the edge of pavement would be, and there has not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff? I have one quick question. I noticed in doing my research before the meeting, several of the lots north of the applicant have fences consistent with what's being applied for tonight. And I'm sorry, I know I'm catching you flat-footed with this question, but do we know whether those fences were properly permitted?
Because I checked in the area and I didn't see any variances. So it's possible that even just by that they meet the setback requirement, but I didn't see any variances.
Fair enough. Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any other questions for staff? Is the applicant present? Yes, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions? Or do you want to add anything to what staff has shared? No, ma'am, I'm sorry. Everything has to be on the record with the microphone, so I'm sorry if you'd come on down. And when you get there, if you'd please share your name and address.
So I'm Helen Nicholson, and 8101 Lazy Bear Lane, Winter Park. The house opposite, so from the front of our house, the house facing us, has a similar setback, and they did apply for a variance many years ago. So it's on that basis that ours will sort of match theirs. And I note that I did provide the information in terms of the measurement from the road. It was 15 feet from the sidewalk and 25.5 feet from the edge of the road. I've also consulted with the neighbours who will be fronting the fence, and I have text messages from all of them to say that they're happy with it.
Thank you, ma'am.
We want to see those.
Gentlemen, any questions? Maybe you said this, and I'm sorry, and I misunderstood. Did you say you have support from your backyard neighbor?
From the neighbours because it'll be a side fence, so the neighbours who will be looking onto that fence, there are 3 houses, and they've all confirmed that they'd be happy with that.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate that. My question is, your backyard's neighbor will be different from yours. Have you spoken with them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it will be, because it will slightly come out, won't it? There'll be that corner. I have spoken to Sandy, yes, and she was happy. I've got a text message to confirm. So I consulted with the people behind and those houses on the side as well.
So you're saying your neighbor, I'm sorry to belabor this, but the person behind you, they don't object to what you're doing?
No, they don't.
Got you, thank you. Gentlemen, any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in support? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? With that, we'll close the floor. Gentlemen, your pleasure.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those in opposition? All right, enjoy, ma'am. Now, before we move on to minutes, I noticed there are interlopers in this room, and I think security should be called. Having said that, seeing our chair emeritus is here, is there anything you'd like to share in coming back and seeing how we've just gone to pieces without your leadership?
I appreciate the temporary title you bestowed upon me, and I congratulate each member of the Board of Adjustment tonight. It's nice to pay a visit, come back and say hi, and brought along with me my wife, Beth, who was vice chair of the Planning and Zoning Board. So it's a nice stroll down memory lane for both of us. Thank you very much for recognition.
And I think I speak for the entire board that we thank you for not standing up as white fence matters might have come up to out of habit. All right, gentlemen, I think that means the last thing on our agenda is approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
We've moved to approve in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Anything else you all would like to share for the betterment of the order? Thank you. Thank you for letting me do this, and thank you for helping me out. Thank you, staff, so much. This has been fun. And, yes, ma'am. Anything before we adjourn? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Bernard can't come.